G'day everyone, I'm Nick Erner. I'm the Managing Director of Alkane Resources.
And I'm Ian Chalmers, Technical Director.
We have just put out an announcement on the Boda resource. And this video is for Ian and I to explain that to you, answer some of your preliminary questions that naturally will come out of that, and hopefully tell you a little about where we're going.
Yeah, thanks Nick. Basically most people remember that about 2.5 years ago we made the initial discovery at Boda. And since that time, recognising the potential of what we had there, we've embarked on a very big drilling program, about 70,000 metres in total. And that's drilled initially around the Boda area, but we've also stepped out to what we call Boda 2 and to the northwest to Kaiser. But more recently, we've focused in on Boda because that's where we got the high-grade core. We started to recognise a high-grade core in Boda. And we're now at a position where we've been able to put a resource around that high-grade core.
And the resource, 10 million ounces, talk us through it, mate.
Okay, so the resource in that envelope, it's about 1 kilometre long and 500 metres wide, is 624 million tonnes at 0.51 gram equivalent, gold equivalent. Now, why we use gold equivalent is because in these deposits where you've got both gold and copper, they both contribute to the economic value of the deposit. So it's not just a gold deposit, it's not just a copper deposit, it's a combined deposit. So we use this a gold equivalent, the number there you can work it on the announcement, it tells you how we can come to that arrangement, that equation. But basically that deposit at 0.51 grams comes out at 10.1 million ounces is what Nick just said.
Yeah, great. And also in the announcement, in our second bullet point under where we describe that opening resource, we also use a different cut-off grade and give a different size resource. Can you talk us through that and why we did that?
Yeah, why we do that is because when we did the bulk resource at the 0.3 gram cut-off, that was looking at it as a global operation, large-scale open pit operation. And then to try and advance that forward, it may end up being an underground operation. And to look at the economics of that, we went to a 0.4 gram equivalent cut-off. And that 0.4 comes up with another interesting number. It's about 353 million tonnes at 0.63 grams per tonne gold equivalent, about 7.1 million ounces of gold.
And the different cut-off grades basically just reflect the different costs of different types of processing. And we looked, mining and processing, and we looked all around the world at different projects and feasibilities, and particularly in Australia. Yeah,
exactly. So we just checked out other deposits. There are many other deposits, particularly in places like British Columbia. There are a multitude of these type of deposits. We looked at their numbers, what were economics, and then we came back and looked at Australia, and we used a number of Australian examples to work out for ourselves base case mining costs, mining styles, processing costs, and said, well, that should underwrite what we're trying to do.
Yep. And if people look closely in the announcement, we'll put it up now in the presentation, you can see that we have a grade tonnage curve actually published, which shows you right from extended mineralisation of about 0.1 all the way through to nearly 2 grams per tonne. Yep. And lets people start to think, well, how might this be mined? And if it was at different stages, what might it look like? So the other thing I think worth noting is, we put, on this long set you can see, this resource is only just a part of the mineralisation we've got. And can you talk us through why that is and where we might be heading next? Sure.
Yeah. As we started to drill out in the early days, with virtually from scratch knowledge, is we recognised fairly quickly that it's a big system. It's at least 3 kilometres long, stretching from Boda into Boda 2 and 3, and then to northwest into Kaiser. And as we did that drilling, we kept saying, well, this is at least 3 kilometres long, it's still open to the south and open to the northwest, but Boda's giving us our best results so far. We'll go in and focus on Boda. So if you look at the long section, you'll see about 3 kilometres of drilling, but you'll see the 1 kilometre, the core where Boda is, and you'll see all the colour.
Much heavy density, yeah. And so we have Kaiser Duke up to the northwest. We're doing surface drilling there at the moment with the intention of a resource?
Yeah, the target there is down to a depth of about 250 metres. So it looks like it might be a shallow, open pitable sort of target. But it also provides us with vectors to look at the potential high-grade zones that might occur at depth underneath that. And that's the same sort of thing we've now got with all the data we've got at Boda 2, where we've got a number of high-grade breccia zones, not enough density to say it'll all hang together. But we can start vectoring onto those zones and saying, there's a high-grade zone here in Boda 2, there's a high-grade zone, or zones preferably underneath Kaiser, and then linking Boda to Kaiser as well.
There you go. So a fair bit for us still to do that will keep us pretty busy. So thanks for watching our presentation. Yep. Thanks again, Ian. And I'd like to think that this is just the beginning.
Yep. Thanks very much.